Welcome to another episode of Twins Review Tech. My name is Bryce, and today I'm going to review one of my favorite battery banks. And although it's my favorite, I'm also going to tell you why I don't recommend it. So let's jump into it now. Here's the battery bank itself, and there's no name on it that I can see anywhere, but that's okay, because I didn't buy it for the name. I bought it for the fact that it has 25,000 milliamp. That's a lot of battery. If it's actually 25,000 milliamps, being one of these knockoff situations, I don't know how much to trust it, but I will say I've been able to charge and use quite a bit, and it seems to work quite well. I have not, however, used this, which is the solar cell that supposedly recharges the battery inside, gives the batteries more juice. It does claim that if you're going to try to do that, I think I read on the page initially, it said something like, imagine it's going to take 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, I said weeks of direct sunlight to charge the batteries. So that's kind of crazy. It's not really meant to do that. It's barely a trickle charge if that's what the case is. So you're going to have maybe 80%, 90% battery left in this guy. Then you use the solar to top it off. That's really what it recommends it for. It seems to be more of a gimmick than anything, but I bought it. I fell for it, and now I have it. And I don't regret it, because even if it takes forever, it is still there. Whereas if the power's out in a building or wherever you may be, then obviously that's not there. Another interesting thing is, if I tap over here this is the Amazon page as it stands today, as of this recording, and that's completely inaccurate. I went to my account, I went to the page where it listed the product that I purchased, and this isn't even correct. Is the company correct? Ayyie, or however you pronounce that, I don't know. Is it correct? It could be. I don't know about that, but it says on the battery 25,000 milliamps, here in the description 15,000. It says that it's 2-port, but when you look at the actual unit itself, it is 3 ports. It says here it's 2 LED flashlights. In reality, it is an array of LEDs, which is actually one of my favorite features. Don't know how often I'll use it, but if you push the power button twice, there you go. You have your array of batteries. Your array of LED lights. Push it once, it gets brighter, and it gets darker, darker, brighter. So you cycle through 3 of them, and then twice again, and it turns off. All 3 of them are bright enough to do quite a few tasks. I did try to use this to light myself as an LED for a video, but it's very blue. It's very cool on the lighting spectrum. So therefore, maybe not the best unless you want to run a white balance, manual white balance every single time. What are some things I like about it? Well, the panel. It is bright enough. That's always a nice thing. You have, although it said 2 in the description, you actually have 3 USB ports, all running at, it said here somewhere, I can't see it now, but all running at roughly 2 or 2.1 amps, which means you can charge 3 tablets at the same time. Now, if you were to do that, an interesting thing, and I'll get into more about this later, is it's not a full-on steady stream of power if you're doing that. So again, I'll get into that in a minute. You have, of course, your standard micro USB, where'd it go? Micro USB port for charging, which takes forever. Plug it in at night and let it go, and it'll be charged in the morning, which is typical for some of these. Now, although it's my favorite, I don't recommend it. And the reason that I don't recommend it is, well, number one, as it says here, currently unavailable. Now, does that mean if something happens to it that I don't have a warranty? It quite possibly does. Sure, I have Amazon that I could deal with, and they're a pretty good company, at least so far for me, when it comes to how they deal with returns and things. And I'm also not the pickiest person, so I don't return things all the time. But if something goes majorly wrong, it's a battery, right? Rechargeable battery. It could catch on fire. There's all sorts of crazy things that can happen. What options do I have at that point? I don't know. The other thing is, as I mentioned about the power down through here, although you have 3, you don't necessarily have all 3 constant. It cycles through them. So you'll see on your tablet, the charging light will come on and then it'll go off. This device's charging light will go on and it will go off. It'll go on and then it'll go off. And each time this is on, these are off. So I don't know if it's because it can only push maybe like 1 or 1.5 amps constant to iPhones or Samsung or any type of Android device, but a tablet, because it needs more, it alternates. I don't know how that works. The manual that came with it, just kidding. There was no manual that came with it. So that is something that you kind of have to deal with. Again, there's the charging that takes forever and the potential issue with if there is a warranty claim needed, what are my options? Do I even have any options? Well, again, I don't have the answers for that. What do I recommend? Well, let me show you this here. This is, can I have 2 favorites? This is also my favorite. This is by PowerAd. Let me turn it the other way around. By PowerAd here. And it's an 18,000 milliamp battery. I broke this one. That's the one that you do like the phones with. The other one here is for tablets. So I had to mark it 1 and 2. And I can only use this one now. But when they both worked great. I could charge from both and they were steady, typical micro USB. It does have, I believe, an LED flashlight situation here. Not very bright, useless, in my opinion. It's fully charged. It does last extremely long time, but that's it takes me into what I would probably recommend in place of the one I have here with solar. It's another PowerAd, and again, it is RAVPower, excuse me. They all start to blend together, these powers and RAVs and anchors and all these other silly things. It's expensive, but they go on sale quite a bit. Looks like it's quite a large LED on the front for flashlight uses. It does have the solar panel, which is nice as well. Again, you definitely don't want to attempt to use that as the main recharging source. It's just a way to top off the battery, but it's nice that it has it there. And of course you have your grips on the sides. It says it's dust and waterproof. Mine claims to be. I'm not going to test that out because I don't trust it. But as with all of these, the rechargeable batteries, if you don't ever charge them and don't ever use them, they will slowly drain themselves. And then they're just an added weight in your pocket or your bag or your purse, whatever the case is. So make sure that they're fully charged as often as you can. That way they're of use. And if you're going to carry this thing around, this one is not light, although 25,000 milliamps, supposedly. It's about the same weight with all the extra features there. Almost dropped it. But if you're going to carry the weight, make sure it's going to be something that you can use. Carry the appropriate cable that you need, even if it's the cheap one. Make sure that you have at least 50% juice, 50% power, and then pick one that is good. I've got this one because it was cheap and it had some of the features I wanted. But if you're going to do this for yourself, I recommend stick with some name brands. PowerAd, RAVPower, Anchor, definitely fantastic stuff. And of course, you have some other companies that make some things that are even more expensive. Expensive doesn't mean that it's better. So read the reviews, take those with a grain of salt, and enjoy the power that you can now take with you. Until next time.